It's Paul Marsh here on Express, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by comedian Tom Stade. Tom, thank you so much for joining me, sir.
Paul, it's a pleasure being on your show. Everybody says, Tom, when you're in Portsmouth, you got to do the Paul Marsh show. And I said, you're dang right I do. It's my one shot to fame. This is it, Paul. I just want to thank you for springboarding me into the Portsmouth upper echelons of stardom.
Well, I thank you for lying. I really do appreciate that. So you're tonight at the Portsmouth Guildhall. I bet you can't wait. I spoke to fellow comedian Phil Wang recently. He's got a show literally the night after you on the Friday night. And we were talking about the names of tours, how they tend not to mean much anymore. So we were coming up with some new names. And the best we came up for Phil Wang was Wang Uncut, which if you know, you know. So I was thinking of a couple of bits and pieces for yourself. And the best that I could come up with was Let's Stay Together. And also I came up with Stayed and Deliver.
All right. Now, do I owe you money? Because I think I might throw Stayed and Deliver. I've been actually trying to think about the next.
Free of charge, you can have it.
Perfect. All right. I'm gonna call my agent. I'm gonna say, okay, remember when I said the show should be called Needlessly Aggressive? I would like to change it to Stayed and Deliver.
Perfect.
I know. It made me laugh so much. And that's so funny that you start out with that, because that is a real thing we've been laughing at. We've been going, I was thinking comedy elitist, but I do like Stayed and Deliver. Or if you were to ask me, I would go Stayed and Never Left. I could also throw that one out. But a bad one would be Tom Stayed and Everybody Else Left. That would also be, that would be the headline of a one-star critique show.
No, that's not going to make it, that one. Now, Tom, I have to ask you. Sorry, I have to ask you. Tour in the UK, it must be a piece of cake compared to touring Canada and the US, because everywhere's so close together. Here, you blink and you're there. Whereas, you wake up the next day in America and you haven't even left the state. So are you booking Portsmouth, then Newcastle, then Cornwall, then Manchester, just to make it a bit of a challenge for you?
You know what? I wish I had that kind of planning to create that kind of chaos that you speak of. Portsmouth to Newcastle. I understand, like when we do go to Canada and all that stuff, every drive, you're dang right, every drive is 8 hours. Are we going to be able to brush our teeth before I speak into that microphone tonight, or do we just wing it? And but you're right. I'm a little bit spoiled now, though. I feel, Paul, that I've become a little too British, because I do find 2 hours and 45 minutes now just a little too long for me to get, like, oh my God, I'm going to need a nap if I keep taking these drives that are. But here's something, Paul. On those drives, most people have a driver, Paul. I have an opener that doesn't drive, and my lovely wife / personal assistant that doesn't want to drive.
Oh no!
So I, as a touring, I would say well known. I don't know if I'd go famous yet, soon to be, but definitely well known. I'm the only driver, so anything over 3 hours and 15 minutes, I start complaining for sure. But thank God, Thank God we spent the night in Taunton's last night, really close to Taunton. What was it? Sand Bay in not Burnham on Sea, but what's the other one there?
You've lost me. I have no
Anyways,
idea.
no worries, no worries, no worries. We played Taunton last night and it was awesome. But we've got Portsmouth. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is they stay pretty close to the gigs now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's not your first time in Portsmouth. You were actually here in 2017. Can you remember it?
Yep. I think we were, I remember we were at the theater.
Yes.
We were at a theater, and
The new
I
Theatre
want to
Royal.
say the new Theatre Royal. And you know what? I can remember who my opener was that night. It was a young man named Michael Downey, who through no fault of his own, is a comedian who was in a car accident, and it was hard for him to. Like, you really got to listen to him. He's super funny, but you really got to listen to him. But I remember that night because everybody thought he was hammered. And I was like, no, this is the first time I could go, no, he wasn't hammered. He was a little bit handicapped. And I know that sounds bad. But yes, I totally remember that gig. And everybody, everybody had a good time. So I'm excited to get back there tonight for sure, man. And it's good. This one is going to be killer.
Now,
and I can't wait for you to see my new opener.
Oh, well, I'm very much looking forward to it. I have to ask you, how long have you been married?
Well, thank you, Paul, for reminding me. I have now been married 28 years, Paul. 28 years. And listen, it's a good marriage, Paul. It's a good marriage. Every time people think it's a perfect marriage, but it's not, Paul. If one of us accidentally dies, I swear to God, each of us will be the main suspect in this murder investigation.
So I've been married for 8 years, so I've got a long way to go before I get to where you are.
Yes, you do. Mathematically speaking, yes, you do. But you've gotten over the 7-year hump, Paul. That's what we always go. As soon as you can get past the 7-year hump, you're sailing, because after the 7-year hump, you don't hold grudges that long anymore. That's what I realized. Like, with the 7-year, before the 7-year hump, you're still faking it for each other that you're really decent people. You know what I mean? You're on your best behavior. You're opening doors. You're paying for stuff. But after that 7 years, you can't keep it up anymore. And all of a sudden, the real you shows up, and then all of a sudden, you're in the game now for sure. And you realize that all these silly arguments that you used to last for like 2-3 weeks, they whittle down to about maybe 2 hours, because you realize that you married an unperfect person, and you're okay with that now. At least I know she did, because I remind her I'm imperfect all the time.
I've made a living off of being imperfect. So you have lived in Scotland for over 20 years. You do realise that you could have committed a crime and been out by now.
I do. How do you know I haven't committed a crime and already gotten away with it? That's why I'm living in Scotland.
Or is that the sentencing now? I sentence you to 20 years in Scotland.
Welcome to my rainy jail. Beautiful.
Now, I have to say that Scotland does have some beautiful scenery, because I did the NC 500 last year. Have you seen that side of Scotland?
Yeah, of course I have. We traveled. There's a little road that you go is that the road you're talking about?
Yes, go all the way around the top.
All the way, like, to the point where if some other car is coming the other way, yeah, you've now blocked yourself and no one's going anywhere.
Yeah, that's
Until
exactly it.
somebody pushes there. Yes, of course I've done that. Trying to go. Oh, and then you get way up to the north, and you're like going, it's beautiful country, but oh my God, do we have some backwards people up there too?
Yeah.
That's what I'm also going to say. Yeah, I'm going to say not a lot of book readers. Not a lot of book readers.
No, probably not.
No. I think I left them a book, and they got pretty excited over it. Of course, it was a picture pop-up book, but it was pretty high tech for them anyways. They live a simple life up there, Paul.
But what else is there to do in North Scotland? Now, listen, let's get back to your show tonight in Portsmouth. What can people expect from it?
Well, a lot of people keep asking me that. I will tell you, this is a show about a time traveler called Tom Stade. And that's this show is pretty much, I realized, and this is it in a nutshell, is that I am a 23-year-old in a 53-year-old time traveling suit. So what it really amounts to is how I see the world has gone, and how I'm going to say mental it's gone, coming from the fact that I'm pretty much I would say I'm a guy from the 90s, and I haven't really left the 90s, and I'm pretty much living in this new world. And as you can see, I am from the 90s, because I couldn't figure out how this microphone started before this interview. Not a lot of people know this. This interview is already 23 minutes long. 13 minutes of it was trying to figure out how the Zoom works. But you put me in front of a VCR, I'll be able to work it out for you,
yeah,
Paul.
I can record all of the programs that are coming on next week. It's not a problem.
So yeah, this show is pretty much, and I'm going to nail it out. It's pretty much sitting there viewing what's going on for a basic thing, a Gen X perspective on where the world is right now, and like things you can't say and things you can say, and how you'd have like my daughter. I use my daughter as my guide through this new world. Like when I ask, when somebody says, Tom, do you know what a safe space is? And I'm like, I don't think I know what a safe is. Like when you're in a basement and a tornado comes by, and my daughter, my daughter would be like, kind of, if the tornado were other people's opinions. And I'm like, ooh, cool. I like this safe space. So
it sounds absolutely brilliant. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely fantastic show. Tom, thank you so much for talking to me. I really do appreciate it. So just to reiterate the point, that there are literally just a handful of tickets left for tonight's show at the Portsmouth Guildhall. However, if for whatever reason you can't make tonight, but you've loved this interview and you do want to see Tom live, he's actually playing just up the road in Southampton on the Friday, the 17th of November. So if you can't make tonight for whatever reason, you can make a 20-minute trip up the road, see him in Southampton on Friday, the 17th of November. Tom, thank you so much for talking to me. I really, really do appreciate it. And I hope tonight goes so well.
Paul, thank you for having me on your show. And I can't wait to see everybody tonight. It'll be a blast, man. You're going to love it.